Hello everyone, welcome back to Jack Plays. Today we're going to be doing another video, and this video is going to be 7 cars you need to own in Gran Turismo 7. Now before we get started, I'd just like to say I have rebranded slightly. We're now called Gran Turismo Historian, not Jack Plays. I think I said Jack Plays in the intro. I may have to cut that out. But yeah, and I've moved all of the kind of content from other games, Call of Duty mainly, but over to my new channel, which is actually called Jack Plays, and I've got some stuff going to be coming up there in the future. But I just wanted to keep this channel mainly Gran Turismo focused, so I can go a little bit more in depth and come with a new direction for this channel. So before we get into it, we're going to be given 3 honourable mentions, which will total up to 10 cars. And yeah, let's get into it. So the honourable mentions are going to be cars that are really good, and I think you should definitely own, but there's just generally kind of one reason why they're not in the top 7, or just simply they're just kind of not good enough. So the first car in the honourable mentions, no surprise, is the Suzuki Escudo, as you can see on the thumbnail. Well, what do I say about this car? It's kind of good everything really. It's arguably the best rally car and the best snow car in the game. Its stats are insane, as I'm sure you know, with a power to weight ratio better than 1:1, both stock. Has nearly 1,000 horsepower stock, 981 if I remember correctly, and with a turbo you can get this trailer 1,200. Now as you can see, it does have a massive front splitter and a massive rear wing, so it can also be used for road use, track use, because of the insane downforce. But like I said, the reason why it's not in the actual list is purely because of this turbo man, really. This really prevents it from being used more. You do have to be a seriously good driver to be able to counteract this, but if you can, you will be unstoppable. But for the beginner, the fact that it doesn't really excel at one thing, for a beginner it's not very easy to drive. Coupled with the fact that it doesn't really excel at one thing, but rather decent at everything. It is also quite expensive, I will be honest, probably about it goes up and down all the time, but for a beginner to spend, it is quite a bit, and I don't really think for a beginner it's quite a lot to spend. I do think there are other cars that would be more useful than spend, if that makes any sense. But obviously if you do happen to have a couple of million lying around, then I would recommend buying it. Now the next car in the honourable mentions is the Mercedes AMG Black Series. Now once again, this is a fantastic car, insanely fast, handles really well, carries loads of speed through the corners, and has good top speed. It's generally a kind of a solid supercar slash hypercar. It also ticks a lot of boxes in niches, so it does get used a lot. So it can be eligible for turbo races, you can use it in the hypercar parade, all of the kind of 600, 700, 800 PP races, the German kind of stuff, and other stuff like that. But the main reason why it's not higher is purely because of the existence of the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, which is just a better car in every way really. And that's why the Mercedes just misses out on this list. And finally, in the honourable mentions, the Mazda 787B. Now this is another very good car. I wouldn't say it's an essential car to own, but definitely a very useful car. Once again, it's insanely fast, being an old Group C car, and it's arguably the best car in the game for grinding credits. However, that is kind of its only use really, and I feel that isn't enough to get it into the top 7. So now let's actually talk about the actual top 7 cars. First car going down in descending order. Okay, so now getting into the actual list of cars that I do think you should own, and these cars are genuinely very good. So in number 7 in descending order is going to be the Chevrolet Corvette ZR1 from 2019, I believe. Now there's one simple reason why this car's at number 7, and that is in the country, that being the USA. Let me explain. So GT7 is filled with the latest supercars, which all kind of claim supercar speed with race car and track car performance. These are mainly from Italy, the Alfa Romeos, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Germany, which has Porsches, BMWs, Mercedes, and we also have some English representation in the form of Jaguar and McLaren. Most of these manufacturers have their latest hypercar, be it the Aventador, the Hyra, F8, whatever you want to call it. However, what we don't see a lot of is supercars or hypercars from the USA. We have there aren't many that are able to match stats to the European cars really. I just don't think America makes many anymore, and even then the amount that's in the game is very slim. For example, we do have the Dodge Vipers, but these are a little bit too old. They don't have the 4th and 5th generation in it, and they're just simply too slow, really. We have the Ford GT, but the older one, once again, is too slow, and the newer one is too expensive to compete with the European ones, so that just leaves Chevrolet. And once you have moved all the trucks and all the muscle cars with drag coefficient of a shed, you are left with the Corvette, and in this game the C7 is the best. The newer C8 just simply does not have the power and cannot keep up. So yeah, this Corvette is good as it can match the European supercars on price and even beats them on speed. I got it up to around 230 miles an hour bonus stop. We'll be honest, it doesn't really handle as well, but I think speed does make up for it. And there are so many events built for this car, and it can easily be tuned or detuned to race up against GR3 or GR4 cars. And yeah, because of its many uses, yet bargain price of just 134,000 credits, I'd say this is definitely a car you need to own in GT7. Now, next car is actually like the Corvette, but it's just a bit better. That is the Ferrari F8. Now, this is on the list because it, is the generic kind of hypercar, if you will. I've tested most of the hypercars in this game around the track. I've done the Lamborghini video, and I was working on the Ferrari one anyway. I don't think it'll be coming out, but and I've tested so much more cars, and I must admit the F8 is more affordable than all the other hypercars from Europe. It isn't as fast as the 812 Superfast from Ferrari, if I'm being honest, not many cars are. But at least you can use this car around the track. That one does not handle at all. It has really good downforce and you carry so much speed through the corners. It's also really fast on the straights with crazy acceleration and very good top speed. It has many events it can be entered in, and even has a manufacturer race which in my opinion is designed for it. Although they're slightly more expensive than the C7 at 33,500 credits, I would say it's definitely worth it, and if I were a beginner I'd probably purchase both the Corvette and the Ferrari. So yeah, number 5 now, and this is going to be the Audi Quattro rally car, and it's pretty self-explanatory. This one, it has one job and does it really well. It's simply the best rally car and the best snow car in the game. Now you're probably thinking, if the Scudo's much faster, then why isn't that the best? And the reason for that is because if you do the campaign venues properly, you should actually get this car for free. And the fact that it given to you kind of implies that it's better than most of the modern rally cars out in the market. I think it's even better than the Peugeot 205 rally car. It'll cost you around 2 million. It'll cost you 2 million, so it is clearly a good car, but you do get it for free, like I said, so I think that must tell you something. There isn't really much else to say about this car, to be honest, other than it should be your go-to car for off-road racing, and definitely a car you should have in your garage. Now we're going to be talking about number 4, and this isn't exactly one car, but more a family of cars that are so versatile and tick so many boxes. And these are the Nissan Skylines. Now we're going to be mainly talking about the R32, R33, R34 and R35, and that kind of breaks rules a little bit. But let me tell you what these cars can do, and then I'll let you decide if you think they should be in the list. Firstly, besides the R34, they're all relatively cheap to obtain, and I do believe, like the Quattro, they do actually give the R34 to you, so get the most expensive ones given to you and the cheap ones can be bought. I wonder why this is. Also, these cars can easily reach 600 horsepower and have insane racing upgrades. You can be tuned right to the max. They can do Japanese races right from the bottom of the PP levels all the way to the top. They can enter the 4-wheel drive races, they can do the turbo races. They can actually beat the Group 4 cars and potentially even the Group 3 cars. They can do the World Touring Car 600 and World Touring Car 700. I do believe the 500 was slightly detuned, and the 800, and if I'm correct, the 900. I don't know if they'll win that, to be honest, but you can try, I guess. And lots of campaign championships, and they even have their own Skyline race. So now do you think they're useful? Also, one thing I like to do is slap on a retro livery and race against their competitors like the RX-8 and the Supra. I did kind of make a video about this, replicating a race from the older Gran Turismo. It did do quite well. So yeah, I think these are really good cars, and while I'm not saying you should own every single variant, I'm saying you at least need a Skyline in your garage. Now, for number 3, we have spoken about some of the best hypercars in the game, but now it's time to talk about the best of the best. And in my opinion, no surprise, it is the Porsche 911 GT3 RS. Now, like I said, I believe this is the best non-race car in the game. It beats the Mercedes AMG in every way, which is why it's only the honourable mentions list. And it is the reason why the Corvette and Ferrari here is because they have some other uses beside this. If they didn't have that, they just wouldn't be here, because this would just be better in every single way. So yeah, this car kind of obviously ticks all the boxes: insane speed, very good handling, really good grip. It's insanely planted and just doesn't oversteer or understeer. Good acceleration, top speed is okay, and it's affordable. A lot of wrench you can do. Stock, I have to admit, is probably one of the best, if not the best, handling car in the game. It does genuinely handle like it's on rails. There's no understeer or oversteer. You can't even tell it's rear engine, because there's no kind of oversteer or anything like that. Just pure grip, even with sport tyres, which it comes stock on. I can't imagine this thing on racing softs. I do believe this is just as fast as the Group 3 cars, and considering this is the road car and about half the price, that's insane. It's cost about 340,000, but I very, very much suggest you buy this car. I've tested a load of different cars around the Nürburgring for times, and I must admit the Porsche is definitely the fastest, even 200, 300 horsepower less than some cars, because it carries so much speed. It is just so much faster, so don't be put off by the slightly lower horsepower number. Kind of look through that, and you will definitely not regret it. Now, once again, I'm going to slightly bend the rules at the second to last one. This will be any Group 3 car. Now, there isn't really a specific Group 3 car that you need, but obviously some are better than others. But these cars have so much use, you just wouldn't believe it. There's loads of campaign races, championships, online races, and the chances are you already have one, but if you don't, I would highly advise you to get one. They all have different personalities, so pick one that you really like. I personally like the Porsche, the Aston Martin, and that may be tricky for the beginners. The Lamborghini is also very good. I'm not going to include Group 4s. I think, although they're good, they don't really have as many uses as the Group 3 and Group 4 cars. And for early game, the Group 3 will likely be your fastest race car. However, most supercars are just as fast, if not faster, than the Group 4s, so it doesn't really serve any purpose in getting one. And finally, the best car in the game, no surprise, is the Dodge SRT Tomahawk. You've probably heard about this thing before. Fastest car in the game by far. It is quite expensive at 1 million, but with some saving it should be achievable. There are some cars in the game that cost over 10 times that. It can get to over 400 miles an hour and 0 to 60 in about 2 seconds, even less. One of the only cars in the game which is actually limited in terms of your reaction times, not the car's ability. I think everyone should drive this car, as it really allows you to see just how good this car is. And to my knowledge, there is not a single car in the game which is even on par with this thing. So let me know in the comments what you think the best cars in the game are, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.